Captain Daniel Hayes sat in the dark control room of Earth's United Nations Space Command. The screens around him showed the stars and the ships that protected humanity. He had been a soldier for 30 years. He knew when something was wrong. Today, that feeling was stronger than ever before. Lieutenant Kevin Cole entered the room and walked straight to the captain. Cole's face was pale. His hand shook as he handed a data chip to Hayes. The young officer's eyes showed fear, the kind of fear that came from discovering something terrible. "Sir," Cole said, "you need to see this. I found it in the encrypted files from the Council transmission. It was hidden inside regular reports about technology traits." Hayes took the chip. He had trained Cole for 5 years. The boy was smart and careful. If he was scared, there was a good reason. Hayes put the chip into the secure reader. Words and numbers filled the screen. He read the first lines and felt ice move through his blood. The document was a council meeting report. It talked about Earth as if humans were not people. It called them resources. It described plans to take every metal, every mineral, and every fuel source from the planet. The plan even had a name: the Earth Extraction Protocol. Hayes, read more. The Council had decided that humans were too dangerous to let grow strong. For 70 years, the Council had said they were helping humanity. They offered technology and protection. But the truth was darker. The Council had hidden the best discoveries from humans. They had stopped other species from trading advanced tools with Earth. They had kept humanity weak on purpose. The document said that in 6 months, Council military ships would arrive at Earth. They would land soldiers. Humans would be told to give up their weapons or cities would burn. Some humans would be killed to make the others obey. The rest would be taken to labor camps on distant worlds. They would work until they died. Their planet would be empty and quiet, ready for mining. "How did you find this?" Hayes asked. "I was checking the security codes on the Council messages," Cole said. There was a pattern in the numbers. The pattern repeated every 100 messages. I wrote a program to pull out every message with that pattern. This was inside one of them. The Council thought nobody would ever find it. Hayes closed the files and looked at Cole. The young officer was brave but exhausted. This knowledge was a heavy thing to carry. "Does anyone else know about this?" Hayes asked. "No, sir. I came straight to you." "Good. Don't tell anyone else yet. Not until we understand what to do." Hayes left the control room and walked through the halls of the command center. Earth had no idea what was coming. 70 years of peace was a lie. Everything the Council had promised was false. Humanity thought it had been accepted as part of the galaxy's family. Instead, they were just waiting for the time to be taken apart like machines. He went to the office of Ambassador Lisa Morrison. She had been the lead human diplomat to the Galactic Council for 15 years. She knew more about the Council than anyone on Earth. If anyone could understand these documents, it was her. Morrison was in her office, reading reports about a new trade deal. She looked up when Hayes came in and closed the door behind him. "We have a problem," Hayes said. He showed her the documents. Morrison's face changed as she read. She was calm, trained to hide her emotions, but Hayes could see her hands grip the edge of her desk harder and harder. "This is real," she said finally. "I knew something was wrong. For 5 years, I could feel it. Every time I asked for advanced technology, they refused. When I asked why, they gave me excuses. But I felt them making decisions about us. Decisions they didn't want us to know about. Can we fight them?" Hayes asked. Morrison looked at the space beyond her window. Down there was Earth, blue oceans, green lands, billions of people who had no idea what was coming. "No," she said. "Not in the way you mean. The Council's military is 10,000 times stronger than ours. They have ships that could burn entire cities with one weapon. They have soldiers from 100 different species. Every one of those species is stronger than humans in some way. We would be crushed in days. Then what do we do? Hayes asked. We have to think like humans, Morrison said. Throughout our history, we have never won against stronger enemies through strength. We won through courage, through unity, through doing things that others never expected. Hayes nodded slowly. You're saying we need to do something that shocks them, something that makes them understand they were wrong about us. Yes, Morrison said, but I don't know what that is yet. Hayes walked to the window. Below, the sun was setting over the Atlantic Ocean. In 6 months, the council would come. They would think Earth would break easily. They would think humans would bow down because they were weak. But Hayes knew something the council did not know. He had fought in wars. He had seen humans die for each other. He had watched ordinary people become heroes when everything was at stake. The council had studied human technology and human weapons, but they had never truly studied human will. We need to bring together the leaders of Earth, Hayes said. Every military commander, every political leader, every scientist. We need to tell them the truth. And then we need to find a way to show the council what they really face when they come here. Morrison stood up. The council representative Xerax arrives for a visit tomorrow. He will want to meet with us. We will sit across from him and pretend we don't know. We will smile and shake his hand. And we will plan how to make the council understand that they made a mistake when they decided to take Earth. Hayes turned to face her. They won't know what hit them. No, Morrison agreed. They won't. The two leaders left the office and walked through the halls of the command center. Above them, thousands of humans worked, protected Earth, and lived their lives without knowing that their world was under judgment. Tomorrow would change everything. The truth was out now, and humanity would have to decide if it would go quietly into the darkness, or if it would stand up and fight for itself in the only way that might work. The choice would be made soon, and all of Earth would pay the price one way or another. The emergency meeting took place deep underground, in a bunker that could survive a direct hit from the most powerful weapons in existence. Captain Daniel Hayes entered the room and saw everyone he needed to see. General Victoria Pierce, the military commander of all Earth forces. Secretary of State Robert Quinn, who led the political government. Dr. Amara Okonkwo, who directed all scientific research on the planet. And Ambassador Lisa Morrison, their link to the stars. All of them had been told to come alone. No guards, no assistants. This meeting could not be known by anyone outside this room. Hayes placed the documents on the table. The room went silent as each leader read the council's plan to destroy Earth. General Pierce's jaw became tight. Quinn's hands started to shake. Dr. Okonkwo's face became hard and cold. Morrison watched them all, waiting for the moment when shock turned into action. 6 months, General Pierce said, looking at Hayes. They are going to arrive here and take our world. And according to your report, they think we cannot fight back. That is what the documents say, Hayes replied. The council believes our military is too weak. They believe humans are too divided to work together. They think we will panic when we see their ships. Quinn leaned back in his chair. As the leader of Earth's political systems, he understood what this meant. Not just war, but the end of human freedom. The end of human choice. The end of human future. If we tell the public, there will be panic, Quinn said. People will try to run. Some will hide. Some will fight in their own ways. We will have chaos, not order. And if we don't tell them, we are lying to billions of people about their fate. We have another option, Hayes said. But it requires something I have never asked of humanity before. It requires every single person to do exactly what we tell them to do. Not because of law or punishment, but because they understand that their survival depends on it. Dr. Okonkwo looked at Hayes with interest. She was the kind of scientist who saw problems as puzzles to solve. "What are you proposing?" she asked. Hayes walked to the wall and pulled up a map of Earth. Then he showed maps of human colonies in space, orbital stations, mining operations, scientific outposts, military ships, all the places where humans lived beyond Earth. "If the Council comes and finds us divided, we lose," Hayes said. "If they find us weak and scared, we lose. But if they find us unified and ready, willing to do something they cannot predict, then maybe we can survive." "You still cannot fight them," General Pierce said. "I have studied their military strength. They have weapons we do not have. Ships that move faster than ours. Soldiers that are stronger. Any military fight ends with Earth burning." "Correct," Hayes said. "So we do not fight them with weapons. We fight them with something they cannot understand. We fight them with human will." Morrison understood where Hayes was going. She stood up and looked at the other leaders. "The Council made one mistake," Morrison said. "They studied our technology. They measured our military. They watched our politics. But they never truly understood what humans are. They think we are like them. Species that follow orders because leadership commands it. But humans are different. Humans will die for each other. Humans will stand together when everything is at stake." "What are you saying?" Quinn asked. Hayes took a deep breath. This was the moment. This was the choice that would decide everything. "I am proposing that we send a single message to every human on Earth and in space," Hayes said. "One word. A command that means something to us, but means nothing to the Council. A word that tells every human what to do without any explanation or discussion." General Pierce leaned forward. "What word?" Hayes did not answer immediately. He looked at each leader. He could see doubt in their eyes. He could see fear, but he could also see something else. He could see the part of them that was human, the part that understood that sometimes survival meant risking everything. "The word is defiance," Hayes said. The room became very quiet. "When that word is spoken," Hayes continued, "every military officer will move their ships to prearranged positions. Every worker in our industries will stop producing anything for the Council. Every diplomat will withdraw from Council discussions. Every scientist will stop sharing discoveries. Every person on this planet and in space will do the same thing. They will stop cooperating with the Council. They will become one unified force." "That will anger them," General Pierce said. "Yes," Hayes agreed. "But it will also confuse them. The Council expects to find a divided species. They expect some humans to surrender, some to fight, some to hide. But they do not expect to find billions of humans acting as one organism. They do not expect that level of unity. And confusion is the only advantage we have." Dr. Okonkwo nodded slowly. "It is a gamble. If it fails, the Council will move up their timeline. They will attack before we are ready. Earth could fall in days." "Yes," Hayes said. "This is not a plan to win. This is a plan to be heard. This is a plan to show the Council that humans are not what they think we are." Quinn looked at the maps again. "All those people. All those lives depending on a single word. If we do this," Quinn said, "we are betting everything on the hope that the Council will hesitate, that they will be confused enough to not attack immediately, that they will reconsider their plan." "Yes," Hayes said. "We are betting that showing true unity will change their minds about what humans are. We are betting that understanding will stop them where weapons never could." General Pierce stood up and walked to Hayes. She looked him in the eye. "Tell me you believe this will work," she said. Hayes looked back at her. He was a soldier. He did not believe in luck. He believed in training, discipline, and reality. But he also believed in something else. He believed that humans had always found ways to survive against odds that seemed impossible. I believe that humans are capable of things that no other species understands, Hayes said. I believe that when faced with extinction, we become something different, something stronger. And I believe that the Council has never faced that before. So yes, I believe this can work. General Pierce nodded. Then we do it. We prepare the command. We train our people. We wait for the Council to arrive. And when the moment comes, we show them what they are really facing. Morrison closed her eyes. She thought about the billions of people who would hear that single word. She thought about what it would mean for them. Every person would know that their world was being tested. Every person would have to choose to be part of something larger than themselves. When? Quinn asked. Hayes looked at his watch. The Council representative Xerax would arrive tomorrow. The message would need to be ready before then. In 72 hours, Hayes said. The broadcast will go out in 72 hours. After that, there is no going back. We will be committed to whatever comes next. The leaders of Earth looked at each other. They were making a choice that would decide the fate of their entire species. There was no safety in this plan. There was only the hope that unity could accomplish what weapons never could. Captain Daniel Hayes sat in the broadcast center. Around him, technicians made final checks on all the systems. In 70 seconds, every human on Earth would hear his voice. Every human in orbital stations would hear it. Every human in the colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter would hear it. Every human ship traveling through space would hear it. The Council would hear it too. Hayes had not slept in 30 hours. His hands were steady, but his mind raced. In less than 2 minutes, he would speak a single word that would either save humanity or destroy it. There was no middle ground now. There was only the moment of truth. 60 seconds, a technician said. Hayes thought about all the humans who would hear him. Factory workers, soldiers, children, farmers, scientists, teachers, artists. Every person would understand that something was happening. Something was changing. And every one of them would have to decide in that moment whether to believe in Captain Hayes and the leaders of Earth. 30 seconds. In the streets of New York, people stopped moving. In Beijing, workers put down their tools. In Lagos, children looked up from their games. Across the planet, 50 billion humans felt something shift in the air. The broadcast was coming. The alert had gone out. Something important would be said. On Xerax's diplomatic vessel, the Council representative watched his scanners. Every human communication system was lighting up. Every transmission tower on Earth was preparing to broadcast. He signaled his commanders to stand ready. This was unexpected. This was not in the reports about human behavior. 10 seconds, the technician said. Hayes opened his mouth. The red light came on. The broadcast began. His voice went out across space in all directions. Radio waves carried it. Quantum transmitters spread it faster than light could travel. Every human everywhere heard it at the same moment, across the entire galaxy. Defiance, Hayes said. His voice was clear and strong. Just one word. No explanation. No politics. No negotiation. Defiance. In that single moment, humanity moved. Every military ship jumped to its prearranged position. Commander Sarah Mitchell, who led the defense forces in space, sent her order through the secure network. 20,000 human vessels moved with perfect timing. They did not attack. They took positions in formation. They showed strength without violence. On Earth, in every factory, workers stopped the production lines. Materials meant for the Council were left where they were. Workers walked away from their stations. No force was needed. No threats were given. When defiance was called, humans moved. Scientists in every lab across the planet stopped sharing information with the Council. Files were locked. Research was sealed. Technology that had been offered to the Council was withdrawn. Diplomats sent formal messages to Council representatives. Humanity was withdrawing from all agreements. Humanity was severing all bonds. The response was unified. There was no discussion. There was no debate. Humans simply did what Hayes had called them to do. On space stations orbiting Earth, humans boarded supply ships that were meant to carry goods to Council worlds. They turned those ships around. They sealed the cargo. Council traders found their operations shut down. Every human trader, every human worker, every human in any position related to the Council stopped working in the diplomatic quarters on 20 different worlds. Human ambassadors stood up from their desks and closed their doors. They sent official notice that Earth was withdrawing from the Galactic Council. The treaties that had protected humanity for 70 years were no longer in effect. The agreements were broken. Xerax watched all of this from his ship. His communications officer brought him report after report. It was impossible to understand. The humans have stopped all production, the officer said. All military vessels have moved to defensive positions, another officer reported. All human diplomatic missions are closing their offices, a third officer said. Xerax felt something move through him. It was not quite fear, but it was something close to it. In 10,000 years of serving the Council, Xerax had never seen a species respond this way. He had seen species panic. He had seen them fight. He had seen them surrender. But he had never seen millions of humans respond as one in a matter of minutes. He went to the communication center and sent an urgent message to the Council leadership. On their home world, the situation has changed, Xerax reported. Humanity has unified in response to a single command word. All human military forces are at war readiness. All economic cooperation has stopped. All diplomatic ties have been severed. I recommend we accelerate our timeline. But he was wrong about something. His commanders waited for his order to attack. The Council ships that were hidden near the outer planets prepared to move. But something stopped them. Something held them back. For the first time, the Council was uncertain. On Earth, Hayes stood in the broadcast center and watched the reports come in. Every human was doing what he had asked. The unity was absolute. There were no rebels. There were no people who refused. There were no arguments or disagreements. Humans had become something that the Council did not understand. Ambassador Morrison sent a message to Xerax's ship. It was simple and clear. We know who you are. We know what you plan. And we will not be taken. We are not a resource. We are not a colony. We are humans. We stand together. You can choose to accept this, or you can choose to fight. But if you choose to fight, you will discover that you have made a terrible mistake about what we are. Xerax read the message 3 times. He looked at his weapons. He looked at his ships. He looked at the reports showing the unified response of humanity. The Council had studied humans for 70 years. They had watched them. They had measured them. But they had never truly understood them. They thought humans were like all other species. They thought humans would break if you applied enough pressure. They thought humans would surrender if they faced death. But humans were different. When faced with extinction, humans did not break. They united. They became strong. And they did something no other species in the galaxy had ever done before. They acted as one. On 17 different worlds where humans lived as minorities. The humans there sent messages saying they stood with Earth. On stations where humans worked for alien employers, they simply left their jobs and boarded ships, heading for human space. The council was seeing something that terrified them more than any weapon ever could. They were seeing the true strength of humanity. Not technology, not military power, but unity. Perfect, absolute, impossible unity. And they did not know how to fight against it. The council attacked 3 days later. It was not what anyone expected. They did not send their war fleets. They did not burn cities from orbit. Instead, they sent a single envoy to a neutral space station halfway between Earth and Council space. The message was clear. Come to negotiations or face destruction. Captain Daniel Hayes prepared to go to that station. Admiral Sarah Mitchell wanted to send military protection, but Hayes refused. He would go alone, with only Ambassador Lisa Morrison at his side. If the council wanted to kill him, they could do it from their ships. A guard would not change that. The shuttle carried them through empty space. Below, the neutral station grew larger. It had been built hundreds of years ago, designed so that different species could meet without advantage to any side. The station was a sphere of metal, spinning slowly to create gravity. Inside, the council representatives waited. Not Zyrax, who had been removed from his post for misunderstanding humanity. The new representative was Kes, a member of the Valorian species. Valorians were known for being fair and logical. If the council had sent Kes, they wanted to talk, not fight. The negotiation chamber was large and cold. 3 council members sat on one side. Morrison and Hayes sat on the other. Between them lay the issue that would decide the future of Earth. Kes spoke first. We have a problem that we did not anticipate. Your species has unified in a way that we do not understand. Our military advisors say that attacking you would be costly. Many of our forces would be destroyed. And if we destroy you, there are other species who would see this as weakness. They would attack the council. Hayes listened. This was important. The council was admitting that they feared human strength, not because of weapons, but because of something else. You are saying that our unity is a threat, Hayes said. We are saying that your unity has made you unpredictable, Kes said. An unpredictable species are dangerous to control. But we also must be honest. We sent ships to capture you and failed. We attempted to invade Earth and our admirals said the cost would be too high. No other species has ever done this to the council. Morrison leaned forward. Then we negotiate as equals. No, Kes said. We negotiate as species that have made a mistake. The council created you as weak. We kept you isolated. We prevented you from becoming strong. We believed this was how we would maintain control. But we were wrong. By keeping you weak, we made you hungry for equality. And by treating you as less than us, we made you want to stand against us. Hayes felt something shift in the room. The council was actually learning. What does the council want from this negotiation? Hayes asked. We want to understand, Kes said. How did you become unified so quickly? We have watched humanity for 70 years. We have seen your conflicts. We have seen your wars. We have seen you divide over religion and politics and culture. How did one word unite you all? Morrison answered. Because humans understand that some things are more important than their differences. When the choice is between dying alone or living together, humans choose to live together. The council thought this was weakness, but it is strength. It is our greatest strength. Cass nodded. This is what we did not understand. This is what no council advisor could have predicted. You say that humans are willing to die for each other. Yes, Hayes said. Humans are willing to die for strangers. We will sacrifice our lives for people we have never met. We do this because we understand that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. The other council members spoke in their own language. Hayes and Morrison could not understand the words, but they could hear the tone. Debate, uncertainty, fear. Finally, Cass turned back to them. The Council will make you this offer. You will be treated as equals in the Galactic Council. You will have full voting rights. You will have access to all technology that we possess. We will share our knowledge with you, no longer keep you weak. And in return, you will become part of the Council defense structure. If we are attacked, you will defend us. If other species rebel against Council authority, you will help us maintain order. No, Hayes said immediately. We will not be the military arm of the Council. We will not use our unity to enforce the Council's will on other species. Cass was surprised. You refuse? You could become the most powerful species in the galaxy, and you refuse. Yes, Morrison said. We know what it is like to be oppressed by stronger powers. We will not do this to others. Then what do you want? Cass asked. Hayes stood up and looked at the Council members. We want justice. The Council oppressed thousands of species throughout history. We want reparations for all of them. We want the Council to share all technology freely, not as a gift to allies, but as a right. We want the Council to work with all species as equals, not as masters and servants. And we want every species that has been enslaved or exploited to have a voice in Council decisions. The Council members were quiet. What Hayes was asking would mean the end of the Council as they knew it. You would reform the entire galactic government? Cass asked. Yes, Morrison said. Because we know that if the Council continues as it is, there will be more conflicts. More species will eventually do what we did. More wars will come. The only path forward is equality and justice for all. The negotiation lasted 14 hours. The Council went to speak with their governments. They had to explain what had happened. They had to tell their leaders that they had underestimated humanity. They had to ask permission to make peace with equals instead of claiming victory over slaves. When Cass returned, his face was different. Something in him had changed. The Council accepts your terms, he said. We will begin dismantling the old system. We will create a new government where all species have equal voice. We will share technology. We will return stolen resources to oppressed peoples. And we will ask humanity to help us guide this change. Hayes and Morrison did not celebrate. They understood the weight of what had just been agreed to. Changing galactic government meant changing how trillions of lives would be lived. It meant power shifts that would anger many Council members. It meant war with those who wanted the old system to continue, but it also meant that humanity had forced the galaxy to face the truth. Zyrax had been wrong when he said humans were a resource to exploit. The Council had been wrong when they thought humans would never stand against them. What the Council discovered was that when you push humans into a corner with nothing to lose, they become something that cannot be controlled or predicted. They become free. And free humans working together are the most powerful force in the galaxy. The shuttle carried Hayes and Morrison back to Earth. Below them, the planet turned in its endless orbit. Billions of humans waited to hear the result. They had spoken one word, and that word had changed the galaxy forever. 1 year had passed since the broadcast of that single word. Admiral Daniel Hayes stood in the new Galactic Embassy on Earth, looking out at the city of New York. The buildings had not changed. The people had not changed. But everything was different now. The embassy itself was new. It served as the center for human diplomacy with all galactic species. Representatives from 100 different worlds had offices here. The Valorians shared space with the Krellians. The Zerthians worked alongside the Mefarians. For the first time, species were not ranked by power or age. They were equals. Ambassador Lisa Morrison walked into Hayes' office with reports. Her job had changed completely. Instead of negotiating with the Council for better treatment, she now negotiated between species that had been enemies for thousands of years. The Drennan people are arriving tomorrow, Morrison said. They want to negotiate reparations for 500 years of council exploitation. We need to discuss what Earth can offer them. Hayes nodded. This was the new work. Not fighting for survival, but building justice for those who had suffered as humanity had suffered. Dr. Amara Okonkwo entered the office behind Morrison. The scientist now led the Galactic Research Cooperative, which shared discoveries freely between all species. The old system of keeping knowledge hidden was gone. We have completed the translation of the Council's advanced physics, Okonkwo said. It will take us 3 years to fully understand it, but when we do, we will have the tools to improve energy production across human worlds by 400%. More importantly, Okonkwo continued, we are teaching other species the same technology. The Krellians will have access to it. The Zerthians will have access to it. Even species that have been oppressed for thousands of years will be able to access this knowledge. No one species will be able to control the galaxy again. Hayes smiled. This was what he had hoped for when he called out that single word. Not just Earth's survival, not just human equality, but the end of the age where some species ruled and others served. General Victoria Pierce came through the door with a file of security reports. She had a new role now too. Instead of commanding forces to defend against invasion, she commanded forces to maintain peace and help protect species from exploitation. The colonies on the outer worlds are stable, Pierce said. The miners on the asteroid belt are working with the robot species to develop better equipment. And the explorers heading toward the galactic core have made contact with 3 new species. They want to join the new government immediately. Hayes thought about how different this was from the fear that had filled the command center a year ago. Back then, they were fighting for survival. Now, they were building something new. Something better. A young woman named Sarah knocked on the door. She was part of the new generation of human leaders. People who had grown up knowing that humanity had strength and dignity. Admiral, Sarah said, there are visitors here to see you. They say they represent the enslaved species that were released from council control. They want to thank you. Hayes was uncomfortable with thanks. He had done what any leader would do. He had made a choice to fight for his people. But he agreed to see the visitors. In the reception hall, he found representatives from a dozen different species. Some were tall and thin. Some were short and broad. Some had multiple arms. Some had none. But they all shared something. They all had eyes that showed they had lived through darkness and were now seeing light for the first time. The first to speak was a creature from the Thurden species. Thurdens had been used as laborers for 800 years. They had built council monuments and mining stations. They had worked until they died, and their children had taken their places. Admiral Hayes, the Thurden said, you could have negotiated for Earth alone. You could have taken power and left us in slavery. But you did not. You demanded that all species be freed. You demanded that we be equals. We are here to tell you that all Thurdens everywhere are grateful for what you did. The other representatives spoke similar words. Species after species thanked Hayes for not forgetting them, for not using humanity's new power to dominate others, the way the Council had dominated them. Hayes felt the weight of this gratitude. He understood what they were saying. They were saying that humanity could have become the new masters of the galaxy. Humanity had the power now. If Hayes had wanted, he could have made humans the rulers and kept other species as servants. But he had not. I am a soldier, Hayes said to the gathered representatives. Soldiers know that power is temporary. Weapons fade. Ships rust. Empires fall. But there is something that lasts longer than any of these things. There is justice. And justice comes when all beings are treated as having value. When all voices are heard. When power is shared instead of held by the few. Hayes paused. We chose to give you freedom not because we are better than you, We chose it because we know what it feels like to be less than what you are. We know what it feels like to be measured as a resource instead of as people. So we chose differently. We chose the path that the council should have chosen thousands of years ago. The representatives listened. Some of them had tears moving down their faces. Hayes continued, "The work we are doing now is not easy. Every day, we have to negotiate between species that have been enemies. We have to share power with those we might want to dominate. We have to forgive those who have harmed us. Well, we have to forgive who have harmed us. But this is the only way forward. This is the only way that guarantees that no species will ever again face what humanity faced. No species will ever again be measured in secret documents. No species will ever again be marked for destruction." 1 year after the broadcast, Earth had become a center of galactic government. Not the most powerful, but the most trusted. Species came to Earth to negotiate because they knew that humans would be fair. They knew that humans understood suffering. And they knew that humans would fight for justice, not just for themselves, but for all people everywhere. Hayes went back to his office that evening and sat alone. Morrison came to find him there as the sun was setting. "You did it," Morrison said. "You took a species that was divided and scared, and you made them strong. You took a galaxy that was ruled by force, and you started to change it to something better." Hayes shook his head. "No, I spoke one word. The humans of Earth did everything else. They chose to stand together. They chose to believe in something larger than themselves. That was their strength, not mine." "Still," Morrison said, "without that word, without your courage to speak it, nothing would have changed." Hayes looked out the window at Earth below. Lights were turning on in cities. Millions of humans were going about their lives, unaware of how close they had come to destruction. Unaware of how their choice to stand together had changed the entire galaxy. "What comes next?" Morrison asked. Hayes smiled. "That is the interesting part. The hard part is over. We have survived. We have proven ourselves. Now we have to build something that will last. We have to show the galaxy that humans are not just strong warriors. We have to show that we are builders, creators, healers. We have to show that our true power is not in weapons, but in our ability to create a better future." Morrison sat down beside him. Together, they watched the sun disappear below the horizon. A new day was coming, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. And humanity was going to play a role in building what came next. One word, one command. That was all it had taken to change everything. And now, humanity would have to prove worthy of that change. They would have to show that unity was not just something they could do in moments of crisis. They would have to show that it was the foundation of who they really were. Species of the galaxy would be watching. They would see if humans were truly different. If humans truly believed in justice, Hayes believed. And if humans stood together as they had when he spoke that single word, then the galaxy would learn a lesson that would echo through the centuries. That when you take humans for granted, when you think they are weak, when you measure them as resources instead of as people, you have made a terrible mistake. Because humans, when united, are impossible to stop. And once they start building something, they will finish it, no matter what it takes.